Funny Hassan hate watch moment.
I guess when you frame it with elites rather than capital owning bourgeois or whatever. Oh my God, you're becoming jank. Yeah, totally. This means I agree with right wingers and not vice versa. I think I'm on the opposite side of that spectrum, where right wingers are agreeing with me. I'm not agreeing with right wingers. I am noticing contradictions that other people are also noticing and using that to describe my worldview in a way that people can comprehend. This is what I do. It's called agitative propaganda. Okay? That is the major difference here.
Just as a quick, I guess like to draw some distinctions around what people are complaining about. Okay, so remember, we're on our emotive arc, okay? When people say things, we have to figure out what they're actually saying. When conservatives complain about school or college, they're not actually complaining about college. They're complaining about far left teachers and kids, and they're complaining about what they perceive to be as useless and far left degrees. If you talk to a conservative and you go like, hey, I want to go to college to be a mechanical engineer, conservatives aren't going to tell you, oh, don't do that, go be an electrician, or oh no, skip that, you're going to become wokeified. They'll say, good job, go to STEM. That's what they'll always say. So, yeah, conservatives don't mind the concept of going to school and getting an education. They're just like very much like, they're very much like solely career oriented around it, and like STEM career oriented around it for whatever reason, whatever reasons. There are reasons for that, but fix your chat. There's a huge war going on right now on Twitter because Elon Musk is bringing back the kind of like the neocon stuff to where I don't have data to support this. So if anybody wants to find some, fucking please let me know. I'm repeating a talking point that I've heard. So I don't know. I've heard this, but supposedly Republicans have always been like anti-immigration, but under the neocons of like Bush, it's like anti-immigration in name only, because large conservatives and everything still want workers for their business, right? And more immigrants means more supply of labor. Supply of labor is one of your most important economic inputs. It's also people that have an incredibly positive fiscal impact, because they're, like, if you think about it, I think we've drawn this graph before, right? We're gonna say red is, we'll do red as fiscal. Fiscal means, fiscal is relating to government budgets, right? Fiscal means how much does your state spend? How much does your federal government spend, right? So if we think of somebody as a child, their fiscal impact is usually like pretty bad. Maybe in the form of tax credits for the family, maybe in the form of some child health care. There's going to be downstream effects like parents not working or whatever. We won't go with that deep, but like it's usually like pretty bad or whatever, right? And then let's see, you probably spend more actually as they get older. Here, let's draw some lines actually for age. We'll do 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. So when a child is born, they probably start to suck money out of the system. You go to like a school that's generally paid for with property taxes. So hopefully, well, no, it's still a drain because older people have to pay it, right? So you go to school, you go to fucking college, you got like college loans. And then you hit this point where hopefully once you get out of college, you shift from being like a fiscal drain, hopefully, there's not a bunch of taxes being spent on you, to where you start to contribute fiscally. You begin working, you begin paying taxes. The government shouldn't be spending as much money on you. And then this should like steadily rise, hopefully, throughout your life until eventually you become old. And then once you become old, then you start consuming fiscally again. Something this bullshit or whatever, right? I don't know what the actual graph will look like, but it'll be some variation of this. The nice thing about grabbing an immigrant that wants to come to the United States to work is usually they're already past this. You don't have to invest in this. They're already grown up. They've made it to 18 to 22 and they're here. right here, and they're ready to work. So when an immigrant comes in, you've eliminated this whole part of the subsidy, and then they're here to work. And because they're young, they're not in this consumption part yet, fiscally, in terms of government budget. So, and they also they buy shit too, right? Because as they make money, they demand goods and services. So they also grow your economy this way. So having like people coming in that are just under this fiscal contributory, ready to fiscally contribute. This is why immigrants coming into a country, we usually have a positive economic benefit and they'll have a positive fiscal benefit. Now, also, this doesn't matter if it's a high skill immigrant or low skill immigrant. It doesn't matter. They consume all the same, not the same exactly how much they consume, but they consume the same. They all consume things and they all work as labor inputs. Now, that's not to say there could be other effects that could be positive or negative. It depends. It's possible you can displace workers. It's possible you could increase crime in some areas. Possible, whatever. Some people speak Spanish in areas there are other things, but just on a purely numbers thing, this is a thing. What, somebody just linked me. What is this? Hold on. Updated assessment overall sustainability of the public finances over the next 50 years. What am I? Chart 4.13. Oh. Oh, cute. Okay. So this is the cumulative fiscal impact of migrants. Okay, so you have a UK resident, so you can see here where they're the fiscal drain, and then as they start working, it's a fiscal boon, they're contributing, and then as they age out, they start to consume more because of healthcare, right? Assuming they make it all the way to age 100. And then migrants. Oh, it feels good when you draw some bullshit on paint. That's exactly correct. Migrants are already coming in here at 20 to 24. You're skipping this whole black area here where you would have been a fiscal drain. And then you have all this fiscal fiscal boon, fiscal contribution, positive fiscal contribution. I don't know why but then you've got low wage migrants. This is a problem. This is not good. But I would argue this is probably because of excessive welfare state or something. I don't think you can have citizens, especially if they're coming in at age 24, that are always a drain on you. But you can see for the average wage migrant here, they come in here and then they you skip all of this down period here and then you're making money here. Yeah. I wonder why. Oh, this is cumulative. Oh, okay. That makes sense. So, because I was wondering, how are you still a positive contributor at 88 years old as a fucking average wage migrant? But it's because they're adding up all of the cumulative effects going on. So they have to turn 90 before they become a net drain, basically, on the state. Yeah. Well, why was I bringing all this up? Oh, I was just bringing all this up to say that, so even though historically conservatives might have used the rhetoric of being anti-immigration, I think they were generally pro-immigration because it generally it was good for the GDP, it was good for the country, it was good for for large corporations, it was good for small businesses, people that hire people. It's just, immigrants are just a free supply of labor. It's always good. More customers for your products and stuff like that, regardless of any other downstream effects. Remember, this is the UK, so the welfare thing is not as much of a problem for our migrants. Yeah. For UK and Europe, their welfare stuff is going to be a lot more than ours. So anyway, Elon is bringing up, rightfully so, that companies are super ultra hungry for workers in the United States. really in the entire world. Everybody is like very, very hungry for workers right now. I don't know if it's because of World War II and the baby boomer stuff and all that, and those people are aging out. So we've got like a lot of demand right now and not as many customers, and the population graphs are a little bit more lopsided. That Peter Zweihander dude talks about this all the time, or used to. So yeah, a lot of companies are hungry for workers. Elon is pointing this out. If you work in tech, okay, these people love H-1B visas, which is basically just like, I believe they're temporary worker visas. And the stereotype is that you basically bring in Indians to work in your, you bring in Indians to like program for you. The issue is that there are two Indians. It's kind of funny that Indians are kind of like the Mexicans, I think, of software development, to where they're simultaneously like lazy, horrible workers that can't get anything done correctly, but they're also somehow mysteriously displacing a lot of your high talent workers. I think the truth is probably that India is a massive fucking country. And if companies are drafting Indians to come and work for your companies, they probably are pretty talented, and they probably are displacing some of your high talent worker. And it's probably not just because they can pay them less. It's probably because they do have a decent grasp on what they're doing. But yeah, so Elon and the rest of the tech world are all saying like, yeah, we need more H-1Bs, we need more workers. And obviously MAGA did not draw that crowd of people that care much about just like economic numbers. They care more about like culture and stuff like that. And so they're all fighting against Elon, and everybody's been in the trenches over this particular issue right now. It's also because they can trap them on those visas, because if they leave that job, they have to go home. I am vibing this so hard right now because I don't know any of the facts, but I would be really surprised if Indians felt like they were getting trapped in the U.S. on H-1B visas. I feel like they're probably generally pretty happy to be here. That'd be my guess, but we'll grab a Red Bull one sec.
States in the internet world. I do believe there will be a rational immigration policy eventually passed. I think there's going to have to be some time. What's interesting about our country, if you study history, is that there are some isms that occasionally pop up. One is isolationism, and it's evil.
I think we've watched this before, but
when protectionism, and it's evil triplet nativism. So if you study the 20s, for example, there was an American First policy that said, "Who cares what happens in Europe?" Well, what happened in Europe mattered. Eventually, because of World War II. There was Smoot-Hawley, which was a part of an economic policy, which basically said we don't want trade. In other words, let's throw up barriers. And there was an immigration policy that I think during this period argued we had too many Jews and too many Italians, therefore we should have no immigrants. And my point to you is we've been through this kind of period of isolationism, protectionism, nativism. I'm a little concerned that we may be going through the same period. I hope that these isms...
It's crazy looking back, retrospect. I'm sorry, I'm never going to lose this. It's just crazy looking back that George W. Bush was like the stupid guy. Like, this is the guy who was an idiot. Everybody's like, oh my God, George W. Bush, what a dumb fuck. Like the way that he was the stupid guy. That's how everybody saw him. We had a whole thing called Bushisms, I think, right? He was the stupid guy.
States in the...
He kind of was stupid though, right? I don't believe so, no. I don't know if Bush ever... I think he spoke like a Southerner, and there's like a bias sometimes in certain parts of the world about like how Southerners sound depending on what your job is, but I don't know if he was ever stupid. I think it was literally just like an accent thing. He was goofier compared to other candidates like the ones he ran against. Maybe. I'm always reminded of when Bush waves off Kerry. That was George Bush, right? I always look for this clip. It always takes me... Why? I bet if I Google it... Whatever. Fuck me. Don't care. Oh, wait. Was it Gore? Maybe it was Gore, not Kerry. Gore and Carrie are like coded as the same person in my mind. I'm going to be honest. I don't know why. They just are. Whatever. So I'm going to try to find it. He's not stupid compared to the general population. He's stupid compared to presidents. He's probably the most stupid president we've had. I would say insofar as politics and history and policy is concerned, he's easily more intelligent than Trump. Although you could say my individual bias is speaking there. But I've never been proven wrong on that. But I don't know anything about historical presidents. Apparently we've had some crazy presidents, so. Jesus. Things are going well for Elon's popularity among those he has pandered to on this site at the moment. Community notes, this picture is real. Okay.
Whether Governor Bush will support the
This took way too long to find. Now it lost its impact. This is just a funny meme. This is a funny moment. I don't know why he did this.
Norwood bill, which is the main one pending.
Governor Bush, you may answer that if you'd like, but also I'd like to know how you see the differences between the two of you, and we need to move on.
Well, the difference is that I can get it done. That I can get something positive done on behalf of the people. That's what the question in this campaign is about. It's not only what's your philosophy and what's your position on issues, but can you get things done? And I believe I can.
All right.
What about the Dingell-Norwood bill?
All right, we're going to go now to
I'm not quite through. Let me finish.
All right, yes, go.
I talked about the principles.
Just listen to this debate. I'm sorry. Fuck me, dude. Jesus. What happened? Where are we right now? We're in a wacky time period in U.S. history.
Specifically, would like to know whether Governor Bush will support the Dingell-Norwood bill, which is the main one pending.
Governor Bush, you may answer that if you'd like, but also I'd like to know how you see the differences between the two of you, and we need to move on.
Well, the difference is that I can get it done. That I can get something positive done on behalf of the people. That's what the question in this campaign is about. It's not only what's your philosophy and what's your position on issues, but can you get things done? And I believe I can.
All right.
What about the Dingell-Norwood bill?
All right, we're going to go now.
I'm not quite through. Let me finish.
All right, yes, go.
I talked about the principles and the issues that I think are important in a patient's Bill of Rights. You know, there's this kind of Washington, D.C. focus, well, it's in this committee or it's got this sponsor. If I'm the president, we're going to have emergency room care, we're going to have gag orders, women will have direct access to OBGYN, people will be able to take their HMO insurance company to court.
Like, remember, this is the stupid guy. Bush is the stupid guy in my lifetime. Sorry, hold on. I'm trying to be more positive. Next year is an optics year, okay? All the optics people, okay? Next year is an optics year, okay? But listen, just listen to him speak. Like particulars about, was the Dingell-Norwood bill, is this about like a healthcare thing or Patients' Bill of Rights? Oh, that's what they're talking about. Yeah, so they're talking about a particular piece of legislation. He's referencing specific points in the legislation, and they're
D.C. focus, well, it's in this committee or it's got this sponsor. If I'm the president,
talking about conflicting interests between what committee did it come out of, who's sponsoring the bill.
we're going to have emergency room care, we're going to have gag orders, women will have direct access to OBGYN, people will be able to take their HMO insurance company to court. That's what I've done in Texas, and that's the kind of leadership style I'll bring to Washington.
All right, the next question.
I will split the difference with Vivek. The reason that Indians and other successful minorities in the U.S. succeed is by blending the culture of hard work and familial dedication with the American spirit of dynamism born from the founders and the frontier spirit. Pure Asian culture encourages rote memorization, conformity, and leads to misery with little innovation. Pure modern Western culture valorizes having a good time over working hard and inevitably is dominated by hedonism. The culture I want to venerate is the American culture, which beat the Axis powers in World War II. It had important institutional checks against hedonism, encouraged hard work, and also heavily prioritized athletics, leadership, and social skills. The best way to recreate that culture, in my opinion, is an immigration moratorium, as we did. Okay, wait, I super agree with this. Is good stuff, I think. The best way to recreate that culture, in my opinion, is an immigration moratorium, as we did in the early 1900s. We must hash out our differences, decide intentionally what culture we want for our children, and end racial balkanization, which is eating us from within. We're gonna end all immigration until we end our differences. What? Decide what our culture is gonna be? What? We're gonna do this? Okay. What is it? Probably. What would you say? It probably takes maybe 2 years, 3 years to get all this done and end racial balkanization, which is eating us from within in the U.S., bro? We also need to prioritize education and opportunity for native-born citizens instead of seeing workers as individual economic units. This will inevitably clash with purely capitalist interests, as it did in the 1900s, but is important nonetheless for societal cohesion and strength. Too many H-1B arguments I see today are just the inverse of leftist justification for mass illegal immigration. All end with a plea to Americans of Indian descent: reject the growing calls for Indian identity politics or DEI/wokeness by another name, and instead embrace the spirit of Theodore Roosevelt. Okay, again, I'm super vibing this because I'm just not 100% sure. I've never gotten the impression ever that Indians in the United States are big like DEI wokies, but I'm drawing from like very heavily my impressions of like Indians working in tech. Is this like a thing that some Indians are doing? Or Destiny, this rote memorization education in Asia, how true is that talking point? Is there a comprehensive analysis of differences in education between the East and the West, or is it just a stereotype? I'm going to be honest. It feels a little bit like a cope from white people. I'm drawing a lot from my Nazi debates, but it's like white people will say some things like, well, yeah, Asians are genetically superior to us when it comes to IQ, but we're more creative than them. They just have high memorizing equations IQ, and that's why their Olympics, are dominated by 6-year-olds. But we have higher creativity IQ. And then like black people have lots of creativity IQ, but low actual IQ. And I don't know, it just feels weird. I'm like, there are white people in the United States that do rote memorization. There are a lot of Asian people that do rote memorization. There's a lot of creative people in the West. There's a lot of creative people in the East. Like, I don't know if there's this huge fixation on one thing or another, but yeah, I don't know. I don't buy into that concept that like Asian people, although he's not making a racially essential argument here, to be fair. He's talking culturally, to be fair to him. There is no room in this country for hyphenated Americanism. When I refer to hyphenated Americans, I do not refer to naturalized Americans. Some of the very best Americans I've ever known were naturalized Americans, Americans born abroad, but a hyphenated American is not an American at all. This is just as true of the man who puts native before the hyphen as of the man who puts German or Irish or English or French before the hyphen. Americanism is a matter of the spirit and of the soul. Our allegiance must be purely to that of the United States. We must unsparingly condemn any man who holds any other allegiance, but if he is heartily and singly loyal to the Republic, then no matter where he was born, he's just as good an American as anyone else. Doesn't this kind of contradict a little bit what we said earlier about putting a moratorium on immigration, though? I feel like one of the strengths of America is supposed to be that anybody in the world, given the talent and prerequisite like desire to like go through the process or whatever, or do what they need to do to become an American, should become an American. And you want to be able to recruit like as many people as possible. I guess it sounds kind of weird, and I need to do more historical analysis to know if my opinion here is historically supported or if it's just a personal opinion. But the idea even of like favoring Native Americans or natives, like favoring American citizens over favoring people in other countries who want to immigrate here, even that paradoxically is not as American to me. Like if there's some bright Indian kid who's like really smart and wants to come to the United States and work, why would I favor some, default American citizen who might not have the same skills or talents or whatever? Why wouldn't I want to draft that other guy to this country? I think one of the strengths of America has been that America is able to absorb so much and then deploy it in a productive way. We take from the world, and we can absorb so many different peoples and cultures and talents and businesses and ideas, and we like assimilate all of them into American culture, and then we put that product out to the rest of the world, and I don't know, we've just been really, really, really successful at it. Shouldn't we generally make sure Americans are good before making sure non-Americans are good? No, you do all of it at the same time. We have a huge government. We've got a huge infrastructure. We've got a huge country. We would never finish one thing and then do the next thing. Because one, Americans are never going to be good. There's always something to work on, right? You want another? I'm going to give you another super scolding hot take, okay? As somebody who has absolutely just to reiterate, okay, no experience programming, no experience in software development, anything of that. One thing that I wonder might be happening is I wonder if for the early decade or two where computer programming and software development jobs were like exploding, it's because you've got like tech is like a glowing industry, right? All these new people are coming in. It's so attractive to everybody. It's growing like crazy. And there's a huge demand for workers. But I think as software engineering has like rediscovered the principles of conventional engineering, right? Like software engineers it feels like 25 years ago, we're like, you're trying to build a building with 20 people and all 20 people are doing something different. And now they're like, okay, well, now we have whole frameworks for how we move projects through an entire enterprise. And we do all these things that it used to be before that if you knew how to program a little bit, or if you knew how to program, now you're like good to go and you get a job. But especially with international markets competing, these jobs are probably becoming a lot more, I'll say G-loaded, or you have to be more intelligent. It's not enough to just know syntax, and it's not enough to just like know how to do a thing, but things that are calling for more problem solving or more like elevated faculty are becoming important. And India has, Jesus, what is the population? It's over almost 1.4 billion people. If you can draw talent from this many people, you probably are going to get some genuinely really intelligent people. And if you're just like an ordinary whatever programmer who knows how to like type some shit, but you don't have like as much the mind for problem solving or for working through like these large frameworks, it's probably going to, the competition for that market, my guess is going to be a lot tougher than it used to be. It's not enough to just say like, oh, I can do 3 languages. Like now, like, again, I'm talking so far outside of my whatever, but like before it might've been impressive that like you could program in however many languages. And now it's like, I don't actually even give a fuck if you know a language or not. Like, can you problem solve? Because the syntax is fucking whatever. We can plug it into a thing, or we can get a junior or whatever to fucking work on it. The syntax doesn't even matter as much anymore. Now it's just like big problem solving things. But I mean, as that requirement grows, you get into areas that are harder to just like learn in school or for any programmer to be able to do. But that's a total vibes guess. I could be wrong on that. Just what it feels like, just from stuff that I read and see and everything. But makes sense. But how do you account for the lack of high quality educational facilities in India, or are Indians more likely to be self-taught? If I had to guess, there probably are a lot of high quality educational facilities in India. That's why they're able to get American jobs. There's just not the same business opportunity. There's not the same employment market. That's the big difference. Destiny, from an economic standpoint, you want to take in doctors and similar from other countries. IT staff is cheaper remote. You have to pay them less, and they don't take additional living space. I don't think that. Do you get H-1B visas for just like people doing ordinary IT work? Or I thought that the stuff that these guys are working, the Indians that are coming in, I thought is a little bit more elevated than that. Or maybe IT work does span up to like really high level work, and I don't know how much all of IT encompasses. Like if you were a software developer, would you call yourself like you work in IT? So it'd be better to highlight how you were able to solve a specific complicated problem in your past jobs on your CV. I would be able to answer anything about CVs, my dude. I don't know if I've ever made a resume in my life. I didn't need a CV to be a carpet cleaner, dog. You just had to show you know to work the carpets. Hey, Elon Musk, you're telling me that 70K per year entry-level jobs are 0.1% talent. 70K per year entry level. That's pretty good, no? Average degrees, highest starting wages. For entry level? I haven't looked at these numbers in a while. I don't know what like is normal now. The average starting salary for the class of 2022 was about $62,000. I think we looked at the site yesterday. Jesus. Follow-up tweet to that. I don't understand the argument that they only want H-1B workers so that they can pay them less. From my experience, they get paid the same amount as a citizen. I'm gonna have 1 month where people are allowed to optics harp, okay? Because now this is like the thing I'm focusing on now. I'm trying to praise these things not negatively. I think the issue is that I think Americans will look around and you'll have like 5 workers working at a thing and all of them are getting paid like $70K a year. And they're looking at each other and they're like, why shouldn't we get paid $80K a year, right? Why not? That would just be, we should. I think we should. Even if like for the equivalent education, even if they're already getting paid more than anybody else with a college degree, they're like, I think we should. I think this is bullshit, right? And then people will complain and say, why do we only get $70K a year? We should get like 75 or 80. And then obviously, so I've said this a lot, it doesn't hit hard because we're American and we only live in America, so whatever. But our standards of living and what we've come to expect in this country are wildly higher than other countries. So what Americans will say is like, where this is failing, it's broken, it's busted. Like there are Europeans that are looking at us like, bro, we don't even have that. Holy shit. And so when somebody else comes from overseas and they're even willing to live in America and like, okay, I'll do this job for 65K a year, other Americans will look at that work and go like, okay, well now you're fucking us over because you're driving our wages down, which to some extent must be true, right? Higher supply of labor means that cost of labor is going to go down a little bit. But then people have the normative attachment to cost of labor where higher is always better, even though higher cost of labor means less profitable businesses, means less investment in businesses, or it means higher consumer prices, or it means some businesses don't exist, or whatever. It's a whole ass fucking thing. But yeah. People are mixing up H-1B1 workers and jobs that are outsourced directly to India, e.g. H-1B1 workers at my company are paid the same as Americans, from what I understand. Our acceleration teams, on the other hand, is based in India, and they do work for half the cost of American workers. Yeah, sure, but if those H-1B workers that were getting paid the same as Americans in America didn't exist, the American workers would probably be getting paid more. But also everything else would cost more, or some businesses just wouldn't exist too. But people, those are like unseen costs, so people don't see that as much. Nobody can afford to live off of $70,000 a year in today's America. Okay. Stop crying about declining birth rates when you want us to live like a bunch of welfare queens. Can't have a family and keep having more kids while making $70,000 a year and also working 80 hours a week. You can make more money working 40 hours a week and overtime at McDonald's each year. At Destiny, can you explain to me why the top most paid person can only make X% more than the lowest paid person would be bad? Because why would it make sense to say that that should be how the wages should go? What if the guy at the top is genuinely worth 100 times more than the guy at the bottom? Oh, I'm sorry, I opened a calculator. What, if you work 15 an hour, isn't that like 40K a year? Is that even 40K a year? I feel like people think that, let's say 40 hours a week times 52 weeks is 31.2K a year. Where are you working at McDonald's and getting 70? That's at 15 an hour with nothing coming out of your taxes. Did I mess this up? 15 an hour times 40 hours a week times 52 weeks in a year. Also, does McDonald's even, will they schedule you now? I don't know how much the job market has changed. Will they schedule you for 40 hours a week now? That doesn't like bump you into like a full-time category? When I worked at McDonald's, I don't think they ever hired any front of houses full-time unless you were a supervisor or a manager. One of the little like, I don't know if this is true now. Okay, I don't know if this is true now, but one of the little quick life hacks that you could always tell when somebody was lying about being poor is when you would see them go through like, okay, well, let's figure out like how much money you could earn if you were working at whatever place. And they would always multiply the hourly rate times 40. And my mind would always say like, bro, you're never getting scheduled 40 hours a week. Management would kill a supervisor, or the owners would kill a manager if you were scheduling employees such that they qualify for full-time benefits. If you're working at McDonald's or some bullshit, you're fighting for 30 hours a week or 32 or whatever like the cutoff is. They'll try to keep you an hour or two below it because they don't want you to accidentally accumulate enough hours to become a full-time employee. Like, it'll fuck them hard. And if anybody gets overtime, you're getting fired. Your ass is crap. Bro, if you're a supervisor at a fast food restaurant and you're scheduling motherfuckers on overtime, but I don't know if that's changed, or maybe that was just a McDonald's thing. Earl, in your opinion, or is it just Reddit molding? You'll have to work 2 different jobs to get over 40 hours a week. Yeah, but juggling multiple jobs is super fucking irritating. My inner hatred for the middle class rises again. Not hatred, my disdain. I feel like in some lines of work, it's always easy to get jealous of people that have 9-to-5 jobs because it means that they have their Friday is Friday, their Saturday, Sunday, their weekends Saturday and Sunday, and they're always working consistent 9-to-5. But if you're working 2 jobs with irregular hours, the hardest part isn't even working all the hours. It's trying to synchronize your schedules between both jobs. So you'll get a schedule that's spit out from, because you're not always working like the same hours or the same shifts. If you're lucky, sometimes you are. I guess it just depends on the industry. But trying to make these line up between 2 different part-time jobs can be a fucking nightmare. But I guess it depends on, again, what kind of jobs you're working. Doesn't payroll also do little stupid tricks like scheduling you so your hours cut across the change in the pay period? I wouldn't call that a trick. That's just your pay period, right? But our schedules, at least where I worked and every place I worked, your schedule is always like the pay period. Like, those are your schedules. Somebody said that Laura Loomer lost her check mark. Is that true, or did she just like change her name or get rid of it and now she's like blaming Elon? Has anybody like verified this yet? I don't even know if you could verify it. She claimed she lost it. I guess Elon could verify it, right? Tons to even Nick. He took a lot of verified that shit on him. Oh, the one girl. Wow, the X team just put my verification under review after calling the new algorithm shadow ban. Uh-oh. Wait, what? It's so crazy how many people don't know the first rule of the internet. Just like give it like 3 days and the news cycle will change. Why would Elon go so hard on this? Oh no, what's he doing? Elon Musk is now admitting it's retaliation. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. He said yes. So calling out mass migration is a stupid game. Just so you know, okay, going back to, we can do like the Marxist analysis, or like any capitalist would have the same analysis. Remember, there is always tension. I feel like this is what it is. This is, it's obvious that this was always the case, right? That Elon Musk advising the president puts you in a strange conflict of interest, right? That was the big call out. It's a conflict of interest. And one of the reasons why it's a conflict of interest is because, remember, don't ever forget this. 1, don't forget it just for econ and finance knowledge. And 2, don't forget it, okay? Because fuck your company and fuck your boss. You are an expense to them. You always are. Labor is a cost of doing business. Labor is the category of things that you spend money on. It's an expense, okay? Any business owner is always trying to minimize expenses, minimize cost. That's what you do when you have a business. Elon Musk is an owner. Elon Musk is part of the donor class or the owner class. His goal is to minimize expenses. So you would expect somebody like Elon Musk to be in favor of more H-1B visas or to be in favor of higher supply of labor. That's just obvious. And there's nothing wrong with that or bad with that. I love eating boots and I love worshiping labor and the proletariat and the bourgeois. I like all people, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with, there's something wrong also with labor. It's like fighting for higher wages. This is the tension that exists between employee and employer, always. But it should have never been surprising that Elon Musk would come out in favor of things that is going to increase the amount of labor available to his businesses. Like that should just be obvious. The guy's literally an African American. What do you expect? That he was gonna come out in favor of the white race? We took this country from the Indians once, and by God, we can do it again. Okay, I mean, not completely untrue. Any accounts found to be engaged in coordinated attacks to spam target accounts with mutant blocks will themselves be categorized correctly as spam. Ah, interesting. I disagree that it's good that Elon wants to and can influence Trump to bring over more cheap labor and hurt the already crippled average tech worker. The average tech worker is not crippled, my friend. But I do agree it's problematic that Elon has such a close position to Trump in doing this. That is problematic. I'm sorry. What I said wasn't problematic is that business owners should always be trying to keep their costs low. That's good for the consumer, and it's good for the owners. But that person shouldn't have an unelected role in leading government policy. That's a massive conflict of interest there. So basically the right split into two factions, tech right and right. And the tech right is like, hey, we need H-1B visa people to do the jobs. And the right was like, no, you need to hire Americans. And the tech right is like, but you guys are retarded. And the ... Elon Musk, that pretty much sums it up. This was eye-opening. Oh no. What is even the cost per company to sponsor an H-1B visa? Is it $5,000? And then you have to hire them, I think, at what the market rate is, I think. I've worked engineering and cybersecurity for 18 years. Degree plus certs is saturated. Experience is lacking. Foreign labor has demonstrable skills via tech competitions. Our businesses need the best. True. Can you please explain why Elon being in Trump's ear is such a huge problem? And would it be the same problem if the richest man in the world was elected by the people? If Elon was voted president, for example? You know what? Honestly, I kind of would say that Elon was kind of elected. I think it's fair to say that maybe. I think that people that voted for Trump knew that they were getting Elon too. I just think that there's a huge conflict of interest between a guy owning that much and then making government policy. Because I don't know now, are you representing Americans or are you representing your like business interests? That's scary to me. Are you concerned with the push to establish a Bitcoin reserve, or do you feel like it's just an overblown talking point? That's never happening. Bitcoin people are, I need somebody I can shit on if I'm trying to be nice to everybody. Yeah, it's going to be the crypto people. Crypto people are beyond stupid. That's never happening. Nice work, Saber. We need more goblin mode for 2025. No goblin mode. Oh no. We named Tesla after Nikola Tesla, one of the greatest engineers ever. He was a penniless immigrant whose inventions led to American dominance in electricity, generation, and usage. But was he an H-1B work visa immigrant? You seem to be moving the goalpost to all immigrants bad, which isn't the argument. Oh no. How is this optics here different from before, where you felt stupid for having the conversations? Are you going to be nice but still wish you? What I need to do is I need to do a survey at some point. There's a huge piece of data that I don't have that I need to know. I'll probably work on this tomorrow, maybe, but I need to survey. I need to figure out, for people that listen to content that, first, I'm curious how people found my content. What was the rhetorical approach that worked the most? I'm curious to know that one. And then the second one is for people that watch content that challenges them, who do they normally watch? And then why do they watch them? I need to get like more concrete answers on stuff like this. Because I know the concepts behind all of this stuff, and I know that all of it works, but I don't actually have strong numbers attached to my head. But I'll make this like, I'll work on this, I think, tomorrow or the day after. I don't know why people are spamming stuff right now, but. So basically, oh, okay. There's a wild theory going around on X that Adrian Dittman is actually a fake persona created by Elon Musk. This theory came to be already around 6 months ago, after which Adrian and Elon spoke together at a space full of Musk fanboys. Short
It
thread.
is. Yeah. Dude, who's in the room with you? Who's in the room?
Hey, Elon, what game are you playing tonight?
Diablo?
Always
Nice.
Diablo.
What class
No,
are you playing?
it's like, whatever came out and not that long ago. But yeah, like my main recreational activity is just playing with kids and then video games.
We can hear X in the background.
So yeah, so
That's so cute.
yeah, so it's
New seasons are fun. The new season stuff for
Diablo. Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to actually just get a hardcore character to not die, which is
The game is too laggy.
Yeah, you'll probably have to
play
spend.
hardcore. It's not.
You'd have to
it's
play
not stable
so.
enough.
Yeah, you'd have to play for so long. It's basically it doesn't make any sense from a
my
utility
Diablo
standpoint.
character name is Monkey Balls, and
Okay. Dittman has attended Alex Jones's X Spaces at least twice, and even Jones himself has suggested that Adrian is actually Elon. Some have speculated that it could be a deep fake voice cloned. Oh, wait, I'm so sorry. This is from February 19th. Why was I like this? This is old. I thought there was a new thread out today where somebody was trying to say they proved that Adrian was Elon. I don't know. I'm like undecided on it. I don't know. This guy does a voice analysis. Is that a real laugh from him? Okay. This is dumb. But okay.
Elon Musk is the top Diablo player in North America, right? Which
I think in the world, dude.
in the world.
I think he's the number one in the world, which is fucking insane. It seems so unlikely that if it was in a movie, I'd go, shut the fuck up. He's not the number one Diablo player. I don't care how smart he is with rockets and electric cars and satellites that give broadband internet and tunneling under the earth, and also owns X.
It's suspicious, I must say.
And he's tweeting 48 times an hour. He's so prolific.
Well,
it's like where's your head?
It has to just be audience signaling. I don't know if he believes this, unless he doesn't know anything about gaming, but I mean, it's just, that's gotta be, it has to be audience signaling. It has to be audience signaling. We wanted to get to the bottom of what happened with Loomer, and to the best of our knowledge, what we learned is that she lost her affiliate badge, premium, monetization, and was suspended from posting for 12 hours because of doxing. She claimed that she lost all of this because of her negative comments of Elon, but she actually doxed Sri Ram, posting his real address unblurred alongside a message. I don't want a bunch of immigrants to take over the White House. Stay mad. I don't give a fuck. On the original doxing photo, she included a redaction bar, but it was underneath his actual address, making his address clearly visible. Whoops, burp, sorry. As for knowledge is what actually went down. You can make the argument, yes, but X still chose act on Loomer when she doxed, but they don't act on others when they doxed, but we don't have to, okay. When did she dox this person? Was this like just over a thing that she fought with recently, or? Like, was this over her recent tweets, or was this a thing she did a long time ago? Cry more, blah, 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 donated Kamala Harris less than 1 month before the 2024 election. How do you have a group of motherfuckers who are like, wait, not motherfuckers, but how do you have people who are like Kamala, it's Kamala, sorry, fuck, Kamala, okay, Kamala, I can't pronounce her name, it's too difficult, okay, really, it's too difficult, yeah, Who are some of your favorite conservatives? Well, I really like a guy called Vivek Ramaswamy. That's not too difficult? What? Okay. I welcome the sanctions on dictator-in-waiting Bidzina Ivanishvili. I called for this in 2020, a Republican study. Ivanishvili, I don't know how to pronounce this. Hates America and loves China and Iran. He plans to destroy Georgian sovereignty and democracy. Georgia needs free and fair elections immediately. I don't know who the fuck this is. I don't know why this was linked to me. Joe Wilson. Representative. Okay.
One more point. This country was founded by white European civilization and culture, and that's what makes it beautiful.
You can always tell when it's an American speaking because they always refer to Europe as like this one cohesive unit. That's always an American Nazi. Anytime you hear that, every single time.
Culture, and that's what makes it beautiful, and that's what made it strong, and that's what made it intelligent. You could say, well, the Asians have higher IQs, but you know what? The Asians built their society, and they built a great one, and I would like a place that is for my people.
Oh, this guy is a Nazi. I don't know who this is, but this guy's a Nazi 100%. These are all the Nazi talking points, or the neo-Nazi talking points. I don't want to do anything bad to black people. In fact, I think black people are insanely beautiful. I just want black people to build their own nations in Africa. I want Asian people to build their own nations in Asia. And I want white people to build their own nations in North America. I think I just want great things for everybody. It's like
by my people, and if there's some blacks there,
what
fantastic.
have you specifically contributed to this long founding?
Oh no, he's pulling out the destiny argument. I definitely fall abnormally to the side of don't give a fuck. Like, I've never done a 23andMe. I don't care, because in my mind I'm like, well, I want my achievements and my accomplishments to be my own. I don't care what my fucking family did. This has nothing to do with me. I don't get any credit for that. And that was always my go-to when fighting Nazis a long time ago. And now he's pulling out the, what have you done though, motherfucker, with all these great genes that you've inherited from your European ancestry?
To this long founding legacy, sir.
Wait, ask that again. Ask the
like, what have you specifically contributed to the great country? Like, what have you specifically contributed that you believe that you somehow have the right to call other people various weird names based on their race?
My first business when I was 16, it was a media company, and I sold it for $52,000. I employed 3 people, and right now I do something else that I'm not going to get into, and I've done other.
This is fake. I don't believe. I'm gonna be more harsh also. For next year, I'm going to be more harsh on believing when people tell me their upbringing, because I feel like every single time we've looked into people's upbringing, they are always lying. You started a business when you were 16 and sold it for $52,000. What does that even mean? It sounds like they just had a bunch of equipment and they just sold the business and it was like the cost of all the assets or whatever. Or it was like, yeah, well, but no, even that was too generous. I think this is a totally fabricated story. That's a totally made up story.
I'm not going to get into, and I've done other.
Would you happen to be running like a plan of some kind by any chance? Because you really.
So explain to me. Go ahead. What have you contributed to this country, Adrian?
Which country in particular?
This country, the United States, the only country that, quite frankly, matters.
In terms of taxes, actually quite a fair amount. I'd imagine I've contributed a fair amount.
No, not taxes, because we all know that taxes are bullshit. Taxes are ways that they control us. None of the money fucking matters. Let me ask you something. What have you contributed? Adrian, what have no, you're not going to walk away from this because I answered you. You're not going to walk away because I answered you, Adrian. I answered you, so now you're going to answer me. What have you contributed to the United States of America?
I have literally just stated to you exactly what I have contributed, but your inability to receive this makes me believe that you are perhaps a retard.
I haven't heard it. What did you contribute? What have you built here?
Taxes, sir. Specifically taxes.
Okay, well, taxes is retarded.
Is that enough? Is that enough? Is that a problem? Do you have a problem with people paying taxes?
No, taxes
is contributing to the maintenance of the infrastructure that you use without actually understanding what it's all for.
You don't really care, and none of you people do. None of you.
How do I not care? I mean, to an extent, you're correct.
Like, if we say, I mean, like, what do we want to look at? Like, do we think the VA is good for veterans? Because if so, that's paid for by taxes. Do we think the U.S. military is good? Because if so, that's paid for by taxes. Do we think that Tesla and SpaceX are good? Like, These are done by a government contract, which is paid for by taxes. Like what?
I don't care about your strange ass opinion. You're fucking racist as well, I know, man.
Taxes, and we all know that we're nickel and
My dude,
dime by the
you are
IRS.
the reason. You are the reason why specific political opinions are looked upon as something that's racist. You are literally the fucking case study. You are the evidence.
You don't know what you're
like,
talking
seriously,
about.
You come in, and the first thing you do is you just insult a bunch of people based on their fucking skin color.
Well, yeah, okay, go ahead. Oh, no, I didn't do that, but go ahead. Explain to me how I did.
And what have you done?
Explain to me how I insulted people based on their skin color. I described their countries,
what is this,
Adrian?
actually? Let's take a look at...
Okay. I mean, this is going nowhere. Jordan Daly...
I just want to have I want to know...
Hang on. I mean it. Jordan Daly says he has some information that can shed some light on Loomer's situation specifically. So, Jordan, tell us.
Hang on. Could I just say one more thing, Adrian? I served in the military as well. So that's another thing that I could...
Oh, served in the military? Uh-oh, kill shot. You served in the military, sir? Who paid you? Who paid you? Is he going to do it? He's got 8 seconds left. Kill shot.
That's another thing that I could...
Oh my God, Adrian, I served in the fucking military.
Oh, no.
Good God. Jordan, have you got anything?